This freaking show, man. This show. It's just. It's so bad. It is so bad. I am on the verge of losing my freaking mind. Like, I know I've got 3 episodes to get through before I'm caught up on the show, but I finished watching this one. I'm like, you know what? I've got to talk about it. And this sucks because I keep doing 1-episode reviews. I'm trying to do multi-episode reviews, but some of these episodes are just so bad, or with The Walking Dead so good, that I have to talk about it 1 episode at a time. So let's get into this one. Welcome to, not Supergirl, welcome to the Alex and Maggie show featuring Supergirl, Season 3, Episode 3, Far From the Tree. I mean, do I need to go any farther than the fact that half of this episode is Supergirl going to Mars with Martian Manhunter to find that his father is there, and then the other half of the episode, it's not a side story. That's the thing about the show. This is not a side story. What they've done with Alex and Maggie has been part of the main story. It has been a huge deal. And the thing about it is, it's pissing me off. I've got no problem with gay people. You know, I'm a Christian, I don't believe in that, but you know what? If you want to go and like a person of your same gender, that's up to you. That's fine. I'm not going to judge you for it. I have my own sins. You do whatever you want to do. I'm not a judgmental person. This show is making me hate gay people. Because they just show them so poorly, and it takes up so much time in the show when I just want to watch a show about a girl that comes from Krypton and fights bad guys. How hard is that to make? How hard is it to make a show where a girl with superpowers fights bad people? How can you not make that a show? Why do you have to turn it into like a public service announcement about how being gay is hard? You know what? In our day and time, it's actually harder to not be gay. Because if you aren't gay and you don't support gay people, you typically get pounded upon by everybody who supports them. How can you not support them? You're a horrible person for not... It's harder to be somebody who doesn't agree with that than it is to be gay. And they're treating it like it's the most difficult thing in the world. I mean, God, that one line from Maggie's dad where he's like, they're building a wall to keep us out. I'm like, okay, hang on. Last time I checked, your woman president is Wonder Woman, not Donald Trump. So how exactly does this joke make sense? You know, like, is Wonder Woman also building a wall to keep the Mexicans out? Like, but just aside from that, they keep treating it like, oh, it's so hard. It is so hard to be gay, guys. Let me tell you about it. I mean, to be looked down upon. Look, I'm sorry. It's not hard. It can't be that hard. I mean, part of America right now is accepting everybody no matter what they believe, or unless you're, trying to knock down other people. In that case, then screw your beliefs. But, whatever the case, if you're gay, if you're transgender, if you're black, you're white, if you're Mexican, no matter your gender, no matter your race, no matter how you believe, it's all about acceptance nowadays. And so, because Maggie had parents that were just very strict against her, all of a sudden it's the hardest thing in the world. Alex dealing with it, the most difficult thing in the world. She had to go through an entire season before she finally was able to get over it. An entire fucking season! This show is ridiculous. So let's talk about first the Alex and Maggie stuff, since it seems to take priority in this one. Because think about the title of the episode, Far From the Tree. Think about John and his dad. That apple didn't fall far from the tree. They are pretty similar in the way that they're both wanting to save their people. Yes, John is a little bit less of a stubborn person than his dad, but they're still very similar. Far From the Tree is talking about Maggie and her dad. She fell very far from that tree. So the title of this episode is actually talking about Maggie and her dad. That's why I say this is the Alex and Maggie show, because that title says, no guys, Alex and Maggie is more important than Supergirl, whatever she's doing with Martian Manhunter. So, let's talk about that first. We've got Maggie and Alex planning their little wedding shower because, that's super important. Alex's mom is coming in. She's setting up everything, so they're talking about stuff, and eventually Maggie, they're sitting down at dinner, and Maggie brings up her dad and how he left her, and because he didn't support her because she said she liked a girl at school, and yeah, so that's the entire plot of this episode. It's just her calling her dad, having him come in, finding out that he still doesn't support her after all this time, and that's it. What was the point of this episode? I know at the end she's talking about, I realized I'm not that little girl anymore. I don't need your support. I've got the support of everybody around me. You didn't already know that? As much as Alex supports you, as much as Kara supports you, as much as Alex's mom and Jimmy and Wynn, all these people are supporting this. They're all just like every single moment of every day talking about the wedding. And you're telling me it took your dad, who doesn't support you, to come in for you to realize that. Are you stupid? So, yeah, this entire episode for them was pointless. It took up half of the episode. It was the main point of the episode. It's what the title was talking about of this episode. And it led to nothing. It led to her dad coming in, trying to be supportive, and then leaving. And that's it. So, beyond the fact that it's already focusing on something that just I don't care about because I want to see Supergirl, but you focus on this for half of an episode. And it leads to nothing. Do you see the problem? If after all of this, if maybe they reunited, maybe her dad managed to overcome his thoughts and his past judgments or whatever. Maybe he finally learned to accept her for who she is, even if he doesn't necessarily agree with it. She's still his daughter. Maybe he learned that. But no, he learned nothing because he still left. Maggie learned something that she should have already known. And that's all that happened in this episode. It was a big waste of freaking time. And that's why I hate this show. If not for the fact that it connected to the rest of the CW Arrowverse, I wouldn't care about the show at all. Honestly, after its first season on CBS, I was like, you know what? I may not watch second season. Heard it was going to CW. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll watch the second season. Hated the second season. And I'm like, I have to watch the third season now because it's actually connected. And it's stupid. They need to just drop this freaking show because it doesn't actually connect to the Arrowverse anyway. Aside from the fact that we're going to have that crossover event, it doesn't connect. It's on a different Earth. We don't see any of the Flash or Arrow characters on there or Legends of Tomorrow. We don't see any of them. The only time it connects is during the crossover. So CW just needs to drop this show because it's awful. It's a pointless waste of time up until we get to the crossover. And for some reason, I'm still watching this. So, yeah, that's everything that goes on with Alex and Maggie. I could go into more detail about how frustrating it is and all the scenes, and I already talked about that one line from her dad that just makes no sense because Trump isn't your president, so how does building the wall make it anyway? So then we get to Kara and Martian Manhunter, and I'm just like, okay, so this has got to be a bit better, right? It's not. Why? Well, because Kara and Jean-Jean's go to Mars because Magan at the end of the last episode was like, I need you, Jean, I need you to come here. So they both show up and find out Jean's dad is still alive. I'm like, oh, okay, this could lead somewhere interesting. It doesn't. So Jean goes in to talk to him, and of course he doesn't believe he is Jean-Jean's. He's thinking it's a white Martian that's shapeshifted into his son and trying to trick him. And so the entire episode is pretty much dealing with that. He's trying to convince his dad that he is who he says he is. The white Martians that are working for Magan trying to overthrow the evil white Martians. They're getting more and more frustrated. There's this one kid who's like really impulsive, and you can tell he's kind of like the antagonistic white Martian of the good group. He wants to try to force Jean to give up the information, which may end up killing him. And so, he's talking about it. Eventually, he's like, sorry, Magan, knocks her out. Supergirl manages to fight him off, but then tells Jean and his dad we gotta go. They take them back to his house, and he's just once again like, I can't believe you do this to me. How dare you? This is terrible. You could kill me now. You finally broken me, and da 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 da. Eventually, Kara lets him mind read her so he can find out. Look, I'm Kryptonian, not a white Martian. Your son is there for you, and so finally he's just like, all right, fine, let's do this. So then Jean shows him a vision of whenever he first saw his I don't know, whenever he showed up at his house and his granddaughters were there and da 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 da. Long story short, he finally believes Jean. So they find the staff that the bad white Martians are trying to find. They manage to stop the white Martians, get the staff, and now Jean's dad heads back to Earth with him. Here's the problem with all of this. There are many problems, but biggest problem in all of this. They stretched this out for so long, and it doesn't need to be. How easy would it be for Jean to just be like, look, read my mind? Or even that, tell him a story that only you would know. Tell him a story of when you were a kid. Tell him a story of that memory that you show him later. So many things. But no. Nope. Nothing. Nothing. He's talking to him. Finally, they get him to the house. Finally, they're alone. And then that's when he's finally just like, all right, fine. I'll let you show me whatever. You know, like, spent all of that time just doing nothing but talking. You guys are mind readers. You can't figure this out? Say, hey, read my mind. Say something. Say anything that can convince him that you are Jean Johns. There is certain information that the white Martians should not be able to know about Jean Johns. Why not give him that? But nope, nothing. And just all of this stuff is just so stupid. Like, it's dragging on for no reason whatsoever. And so finally we get to the house, and Jean is showing him the scene with Jean's daughters and, you know, seeing their grandfather and all that stuff. Kara can somehow see it. No explanation. Jean touches his dad's head, and they're both looking and watching the scene unfold, and Kara's watching too. She's like, this is so cool. Jean, your daughters are beautiful. Jean, pick me. Yes. How can Kara see when you're not mind reading her? You're just doing it to your dad. Can somebody please explain this to me? Like, am I misunderstanding Martian Manhunter's powers? How can him touching his dad's head show the vision to Kara? Are the writers just like, alright, Kara needs to see this scene too so she can react emotionally? Are you stupid? Let me answer that for you. Yes, you are! Because then, after all this is said and done, the white Martians show up. Jean's dad gives them the information about the spear. Like I said, they go to get the spear. Kara pulls up in Jean's little car that shapeshifts him to a plane or whatever, a spaceship. And she pulls up playing Britney Spears Hit Me One More Time. How stupid do you have to be to put that in a freaking Supergirl show? It's not funny. It doesn't make any sense. What's the point of it? Aside from, oh, we wanted to get Britney Spears Hit Me One More Time in there. Play a song about Mars or something. You know, that would make more sense. But to play Hit Me One More Time, yeah. Hit me, baby, one more time. That makes sense because she's on Mars and about to fight white Martians and sitting in a car that can turn into a space. Why do we put this song in here again, guys? So yeah. After all this is said and done, is this the worst thing about the show? No. Because there's one thing that just stood out to me more than anything, and I'm just like, this is why I've got to talk about this episode on its own, because if I forget this, I'll be pissed at myself, because after all is said and done, after spending a lot of time with Alex and Maggie, half of the episode with them, whenever it's a show about Supergirl, all that time spent leading to nothing, everything to do with the, you know, Jean trying to convince his dad he is who he says he is, leading to nothing until finally it leads to something. After pulling up, playing Britney Spears in a freaking car that could turn into a spaceship and no sense of what that means, all of that leads to, for some reason the show thinks it is clever enough to reference Looney Tunes. No. No. You can make all the stupid references you want. You can reference Donald Trump building the wall. You can reference some stupid show, you know, back in the day. You can reference whatever you want. I don't care. You do not get to reference one of the most clever and funny shows that cartoon has ever offered us. Because she gets out of the car, she's like, I'm sorry, I don't know where I went after that left turn at Albuquerque. I'm just like, no, you don't get to make this line. You don't get to do this. Okay? You don't get to do this. After all the crap you've put me through these past 2 seasons, you don't get to reference Looney Tunes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Bugs Bunny and left turn at Albuquerque, because it's a funny thing. It's not really like a huge joke or anything, but it's something fairly, I guess, popular when it comes to Looney Tunes. Because you see Bugs Bunny and all of a sudden he's in the Arctic, he's like, I knew I shouldn't have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. And that's the line they're referencing. I don't know why they randomly threw it in, but yeah, they just randomly threw in a Looney Tunes reference. I'm like, you are the scum of the earth. I know I'm getting really pissed about this, but you know, after such a terrible show, to give me that is just like, you hate me, you hate your viewers, you hate everything about Supergirl. Like, you're such a freaking moron. So, after all that, you know, stupid car, stupid song, stupid reference to a better show. So they fight off all the white Martians, and of course, because this show doesn't have enough cliches, the one antagonistic white Martian from the good side is all like, oh, thank you, you know, here, you have the staff. Clearly it's too powerful for either of us to use. And the guy that's been all like, oh, I'm gonna hurt you, I'm gonna kill this guy to get information. Oh, I've seen the error of my ways now. So yeah, they take John's dad back to Earth, and so now apparently he's living there now. Don't really know what this is going to lead to. Probably going to lead to absolutely nothing, but you know what? That's what most of this show is anyway. So that's it for me. I'm tired of raging. Still got 2 more episodes to watch before I'm caught up, and I don't want to, but I have to because of freaking Arrowverse. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Supergirl reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.